Salute to my tribe's people. I am Kendrick Avant, your professor of gratitude journaling. You know what I do. I slide in with that gratitude journal and I tell you all about the stories you need to get over abandonment, critical illness, your wheelchair, the imposter syndrome. That's what I do. And then every once in a while, you see me on Clubhouse doing my thing. Right now, I want y'all to stand up and get ready because I am interviewing Jiao Shi. Jiao Shi is a king who has left Brooklyn, went to China for almost 30 years and learned all types of integrated medicine, functional medicine, and of course the real Western medicines that we're all used to with pills and diagnoses and all that kind of stuff. I want y'all to get ready. This is the best interview I have ever done. Doc, I learned a whole lot fucking with him. Salute. About every 10 minutes, I'm gonna give y'all a short little break up the monotony, and then we'll get right back into it. It is a 48-minute interview. Off the chain, man. Y'all are gonna enjoy this shit. There we go, recording in progress. So I grew up in a small town even further north of here called Nacogdoches, Texas. My family came from East Arkansas when I was in 4th grade, from Arkansas to Texas.
Okay.
Texas, it was my first time seeing real street lights. Because where I come from, all they had was stop signs. All they had was stop signs in mom and pop spots. My hometown is less than 3,000 people. And both of my parents are from this small hometown. So there's no dating or anything because you're going to run into a cousin or something like that. I knew better than to ever do that. I came to Texas, saw street lights as a kid, and I thought, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Exactly.
And I have not left yet. Not left. I went to Arkansas 1 year for college.
Okay.
I came right on back home. I walked and saw, loved it, but I knew, I got to get back to the lights and everything. No.
Exactly.
Great food, but I got to get back to the city.
Very
we've
cool.
been here.
Very cool.
We've been here in Conroe since 2016.
Okay. How many children do you have?
4. Got 3 girls and 1 boy.
Oh, congratulations. Okay, good.
Yep, like my oldest is a 20-year-old girl, and my youngest is about to be 10-year-old girl.
Sure.
And I got another girl and a boy sandwiched in between there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it has been quite a journey.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I've had a lot of fun with it.
Good.
Yeah, this is quite a journey.
So then now, how did you go and chronicle your life to where you are now? Because I see everything that you have either on Clubhouse or whatever is always about gratitude. So then how did you get to that level, that state? Because very few people, just in even my career, I've been doing this 26 years, very few people have that kind of outlook, You
know what? Man, it came because we got this. I was a teacher. We got this house in 2016. 3 months later, one of my closest aunt passed away of multiple sclerosis. So I knew what it was. And a month after that, I was diagnosed with it. So we had just gotten this house. I had just left teaching. We just got here, got the 4 kids. We had just moved there. I told the wife to retire and everything. I was a high real estate agent. I was selling houses to teachers, to principals. I mean, in less than 6 months, I made my entire teacher salary and some. I mean, it was just going great. And I got diagnosed with that. And I was doing so good with doing the real estate stuff. We actually went to Costa Rica on vacation, and I fall through a glass table, and somehow I don't get cut up. But it was the last time I ever walked unassisted. We're on the beach, and I'm thinking I hurt my leg, and the lady massaging me says, in broken Spanish and English, says, "This is not your muscles. This is in your brain."
Yeah.
What? You have no idea. What are you talking about? You're on the Costa Rica, man. Get back to the massage.
Right.
Get home. My wife is an RN. She says, "Look, Kendrick. I think you may have had a stroke in Costa Rica." I didn't want to tell you that because I don't want to shock you.
Sure.
We walk to the neurologist's office, and she says she takes one look of her walk in and says, Oh, how long have you had multiple sclerosis? I said, I'm not here for multiple sclerosis. No way, I'm not here for that. I hurt my leg when I fell. She said, oh, you're here to get checked for it. No, I'm not here for that. I hurt my leg when I fell. A week later, I got it. And within 6 months, I went from diagnosed of it to the primary progressive stage, and they wanted to put me on chemotherapy and everything. It got bad quick. I went from walking and everything, a real estate agent within 6 months. I was on the cane within 1 year. I was in a wheelchair.
Sure.
After that, I was wheelchair bound, so there was no more driving. I mean, it got really, really bad quick. It got bad quick. The wife and I we're discussing divorce and everything like that. We got kids, the new house, and I actually drove myself maybe between 30 and 40 miles to a friend's house. I've been drinking, I've been smoking. I'm using cane to drive because I can't use my legs appropriately. And I pull up in my friend's house. He says, oh my God, I'm glad you're here, bro. Sits me down. We enjoy a cigar, have a beer or two. And he says, the hell are you doing here? The hell is wrong with you? Dude, you got too much going on to think anything should just knock you down like this, man. Take your ass home. You got kids, your wife loves you. Take your ass. He said, you're going to stay here and get yourself together tonight. But after this, dude, either you could take your ass home or I would drive you home myself. And that night, I wrote my first gratitude. I wrote the first 3 things I was grateful for. And I did that for a couple of years, for maybe 3 years, from 2018 until 2020. And then October 1st, 2020, I decided, you know what, let me stop writing what I'm grateful for every day. I'm going to write why I'm grateful, spend a little bit more time in here. Ever since then, I have found that's the secret. As long as I'm writing out why I'm grateful, because that takes longer time than what you're grateful for. As long as I'm writing out why I'm grateful, all these disabilities, the getting back and forth to the bathroom, the vision, all of that just seems to go in the background. It's just white noise. As long as I'm focused on whatever is going good around me. And I learned that the hard way. And so since then, since 2020, I've had this online. I've been doing gratitude journals about it. I go places and I talk about it because no matter what I'm going through, my wife and I were going through a divorce. It's at this point now, it's a couple of years later. Yo, bro, that's like that's like one of my greatest bodyguards. Like if anybody says anything wrong around me, she's right to my, who says something? Leave him alone. I mean, she does all this type of stuff. And you're like, oh my God, y'all are so strong. Y'all are so passionate for each other. Yo, man, we were on the verge of divorce just a few years ago. And
then the energy just transformed it. So that's good. That's good.
Yep, that's it.
So now the thing is that what do you see? Because like for me and my practice, because like I said, I've been doing this for a little bit. And for me, because of my training, I'm always about allowing people the opportunity for transformation. Because I was transformed when I went to China. I was trained in China for a little bit, and I was at a primary hospital there. And that's what really transformed my understanding of exactly how the human body works.
There we go. So now let's get into this stuff that OHO seminar, the OHO seminars first. How do I pronunciate, what is the proper way to pronunciate your name?
Okay, so did you Jiao is pronounced J-O-W. Jiao. Then the S-H-I is like the word sure, but just with an accent on the I. Sure. Jiao Shi.
Jiao Shi.
You speak very good Chinese. So all it means is just teacher. And I took on that moniker because I used to do 12-hour days as a physician doing acupuncture, herbal medicine, cupping, massage, all kinds of aspects of Chinese medicine. But what I noticed is that I would know the constitution of the person, reset them, what they're calling multiple sclerosis here. That's not what we called it thousands of years ago. We call it something different. We can talk about that offline.
If you are struggling with urinary retention or urinary incontinence, let me give you a secret. If I sit towards the front of the toilet, it helps me pee-pee easier. And if I sit towards the back of the toilet, it helps me boo-boo easier. Boom. No problem. Now you know too.
So then the idea is that when we start doing the treatment for people, then they go, they get corrected, they get balanced, they walk out of my clinic, they do different things, yeah? And then I would notice that weeks later, months later, they're back again. I'm like, oh, they didn't understand that they should do thus and so for themselves. So I said, there's no real issue here other than education. That's the real medicine. So I said, okay, I have to go in and start teaching people, hey, if you knew your constitution, and I said to you, your constitution works this way, and you could avoid the do's and don'ts for the constitution. Let's say your constitution is of a race car, and you need jet fuel to put in that race car, but you started putting diesel in it. And now the engine is all screwed up because you were putting in the incorrect fuel.
Absolutely.
Right? And then appropriately, because you put diesel in a jet engine, it's giving you those kind of symptoms, expressions of energy saying, this is not my fuel. When people have neurological disorders, it's just the neurons telling you, hey, don't give me that. Don't do this. Right?
I 1000% agree.
Okay. And then if you give me the correct fuel, if you give me the correct balance, I will restore the neurons. So the idea is that the body goes through restoration processes. So the president of the hospital at the time that I trained in, his particular specialty is called time medicine. The way to understand it is with the circadian rhythm.
Okay,
so when he would, So what he would do is he would calculate the position of the planets around us, like Mercury, Venus, or whatever, and then he would calculate the position of the sun and then the moon, and then write the appropriate herbal prescription for people who had no pancreatic islets, which is the actual cell that produces insulin. So they had no cells to produce insulin. And then with that calculation, he gave them the herbs at the appropriate time, and then they reproduce cells again.
Man,
this is in 1995.
Golly.
Okay.
And this is based, and this is all based on the ancient. Okay, comes from China. This is based on the circadian rhythm.
So in ancient China, they understood circadian rhythm. They understood there never in China's history that they ever believed the earth was flat. Okay? Because they could calculate the orbits of the planets, and they call these flying stars. Okay? So they can calculate the position of the constellations. They calculated all of these things in ancient China, and then the ebbs and flows of the energy, just like the tides, you can now calculate in how to allow the body to ride that rhythm. As long as you're riding that rhythm, you're keeping in circulation. If you're going against the wave, just like the undertow, it'll drag you out into the ocean and you'll have some problems.
Absolutely. I believe that, man. Because even the little bit that I know that I'm doing, because I have not, like I said, they told me chemotherapy. Sure. I did not go back to the doctor again. That was March 1st, 2017. It's just been, I've been dealing with everything I do with stuff out that is off the reservation. So
right.
I know that when I'm eating certain things and thinking certain ways and doing my yoga and everything, I know I'm grooving. I can almost feel myself beginning to heal. I can feel myself starting to step back. I would even tell my wife sometimes, I think I'm getting better. And it might be a bill that's due. It might be the kids that got on my nerves. It might be I skipped a couple of meals, and instead of eating what I'm supposed to eat, maybe I'm not. Like, I know at this point I need to have 100 ounces of water every day to get certain things going right. I know I need 100 ounces. Now, the biggest thing is to understand, and this is what the main message that I give people: if you harmonize your four energies, the proper sunlight,
the proper oxygen, distilled water, not any kind of water, not alkaline water, not fresh water, any of those, distilled water. And then the proper food for your constitution, that is what realigns the body. Now, food is last in that list, not first.
Yeah.
Food is not as important as people think it is. If you get the right sunlight, proper sunlight, not all sunlight is beneficial because it's ultraviolet light. Ultraviolet light is designed to sterilize. That's what we use for surgical equipment. So if you get the proper sunlight that doesn't sterilize you, then you get the proper oxygen that actually is enriching you, then you get the distilled water. That's 90% of your physiological function. Then when you couple that with the correct food for your body type, whether it's diesel, whether it's 87 octane, 92, or what, kerosene, like jet fuel, then your body runs at its optimum. Then as it's running at its optimum, it can now build a surplus of energy. That surplus of energy allows your body to do regeneration cycles. If you're taking off of that energy every time you go through your regeneration cycle, then now you start off at 100% as a baby. Then when that regeneration cycle comes around and you don't do that, it goes down to 90%. Next regeneration cycle, 80%. Then little by little, as you get down to 20, that's when neurological problems happen, migraines, circulation problems. That's when your body's immune system starts to decrease and it doesn't have enough energy to regenerate. And then you go into the degeneration cycle.
I believe it.
Okay.
Sure.
So then as long as you understand the process, you can either support it and maintain your body through prevention or restore it by using these kind of circadian rhythm measurements. As the body changes either 100 days, either to your benefit or to your detriment, depending upon what your body is needing. So then you can see, I'm going through my childhood, everything's going good. And then every 100 days, then little by little, you develop what they're labeling as multiple sclerosis. Like I said, in ancient times, we didn't call it that. Okay. So then now you understand what to do for the body when you start to see that pattern. And when you see that pattern, then now you can support the regeneration cycles. And then every 100 days, you start climbing out of it.
Okay. Okay. What brought you to China to start learning this? Because you went there, like you are there deep in it. It's not just you reading some books. What got you from, because when I talked to your assistant, she said, is it Brooklyn?
Yeah, I'm originally from Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn, and then I grew up all around the tri-state area. And then while I was growing up, when I was 15 years old, I had a roller skating accident. And after that roller skating accident, I came across my first acupuncturist, which I was completely against.
I can only imagine that at the age of 15, somebody coming in with needles and stuff. I can only imagine.
Yeah. Well, my mother said, hey, what do you think about acupuncture to help you? Like after they did the surgery, the swelling on my ankle was still about the size of my thigh.
Wow.
And the surgeon said, well, good luck. It may go down. It may not go down, but at least you'll be able to feel the weather when it comes. That was his parting gift to me.
That's no fun.
So I was like, okay, great. So then after a few months, as the cast is on and they got to go through all of that, then my mother came and said a family friend had suggested acupuncture. So I said, acupuncture? Yo, Mr. Miyagi's not sticking me with no needles. And she goes, you need to be open-minded. I said, look, no short Chinese man is coming at me with no needles. And so she's like, forget you.
So if you're stuck at the crib, I need you to use social media and create your own vision board. Start deleting, banning, putting everybody that drops that negative stuff on your timeline. Yo, man, get them off your timeline to increase your algorithms and improve your algorithms. Get some better stuff on your timeline, man. Enjoy your social media again.
Okay, so then she started going to this guy in Montclair, New Jersey, secretly. So a few months, she starts going and doing her thing. So I went on errands one day with her, and I get into, and then she's saying, I'm going to one of my appointments, and I'm walking in. I'm like, uh-oh, she set me up for something. I open up the door, and she goes, this is not for you. This is me, for shh. So there was a 6 foot tall, dark skinned man with dreadlocks coming down to here. And I go, oh, that's not Mr. Miyagi.
No, it's not.
So then my mother lays on the table and he takes the needle out and he puts it into her and he does like this. And the needle starts doing like this. And I go, what's that? And he says, that's chi. I said, okay, what is it and how do I control it? And he says, you don't control it, you allow it. I said, okay. Because remember, this is 95. Star Wars was big. This is the Force to me. Right?
I remember Iron Fist used to use the chi when I was in.
Yeah.
About that.
So I'm like, this dude, he's got to be a Jedi. Right? So he does the next, he does like this, and the needle starts moving around again. I'm like, yeah, how do I get that? He's like, you don't get it. You allow it. So he starts working on my mother. My mother's relaxing. He says, so your mother told me that you have some issue with your ankle. And I said, yeah. Can I try now? And he says, sure. I'll put one needle in your ankle. And he does this. And I feel this energy run up my leg. And I'm like, oh, what is this? He says, I told you it's chi. Okay. How do I control it? I told you can't control it. You got to allow it. So we developed a friendship. That was my first mentor. And then as I grew up, went to my undergraduate school. And then after I did my undergraduate degree, then I did my master's in Chinese medicine. The program that we did for Chinese medicine, now we had a sister relationship. I was with the first group that went to the primary care hospital in Yantai, China.
Wow.
Okay. And that's like a level 1 center in China. Now, but the difference between a level 1 center in America and a level 1 center in China is that they integrate completely. They do both Eastern and Western medicine. So when I went there, we trained on the board 12-hour days. We did 12-hour days and 3 hours was training. On one side of the board was Eastern medicine. On the opposite side of the board is Western medicine. In the middle is integration. So then my rounding rotation is do a blood test, do EKG, do EEG if we're doing neurological disorders, do MRI, X-ray, CT, then write a prescription for herbal medicine, or write a prescription for acupuncture, or write a prescription for massage. That's our Yeah, you want Western medicine? Go down to the department on the first floor. You want Eastern medicine? Go up to the department on the second floor. And then we just integrate all day. The president of the hospital, he's a time specialist in Chinese medicine and a cardiologist in Western medicine.
Wow. When I was, one of the things that amazed me when I was talking to Anna, your assistant, she told me that where you are, doctors are not paid if you get sick again. They're only paid if you actually stay well. And I was like, whoa. No,
that's in ancient China. In ancient China, if you were a doctor of the region, they paid the doctor if the town was well. If anybody got sick, the doctor didn't get paid. Because the doctor's not doing his job.
Yeah. That's a whole.
Here in America, everything is based on the SICK protocol, what I call the SICK protocol. Symptoms, indications, and conditions. That's the SICK protocol. They do not pay for prevention. My undergraduate degree is commercial aviation. The first budget that they cut in anything in the aviation industry is safety. The first thing that they put back is safety. Right? So America, or even in the West, unfortunately, they don't see prevention or safety as something that's valuable until an accident happens or somebody gets sick or they're on disability or something, then they have value to it. But you have to realize is that they came out of a Black Plague. See, the Black Plague, when it went through Europe, had everybody sick. And then they started studying death. And then from death, they started to find how to now treat long-term diseases. And that's where the first Congress of Death and Dying came out of Europe in the 1900s. And that was called International Classification of Disease. And that was the first one. Now we're on ICD-9. Oh, we just moved to ICD-10, where they classify the diseases and they put everything into a book of classifications. So this is just 10 iterations of them coming out of the Black Plague. So they're disease-oriented, they're disease-minded. Okay. So anytime when people complain to me about Western medicine, say you have to understand their history, they're less than really 100 years old, because the technology that they have with x-rays, blood tests, is really 75 to 100 years old. They're babies compared to 6,000 years of information. You know, when SARS-1 happened, the Chinese doctors just looked back 2,500 years ago and said, oh yeah, we remember this pattern, and they brought the herbal medicine forward. Then when SARS-2 happened, which is now, which they're labeling here in the United States as COVID, the actual thing is severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2. This is the second iteration of it. Okay. We looked at it and then, okay, this is from this period. And then they brought that herbal medicine forward.
What are some examples of the herbal medicine? Is it just different teas and?
Remember, it's based on different clinical experience. So the doctor that they use here his name was Zhang Zongjing. Okay. And he wrote a book called Sanghan Lun. And he wrote another book called Jingwei Yaola, which is the Secrets of the Golden Cabinet. And then how to treat cold damage. Okay. So cold damage means that the body itself is inundated with cold. So, which means inclement weather was killing a lot of people at the time of his particular experience. So as he was writing down his experience, there was a lot of death. It was a pandemic.
Okay. Yep.
So then he wrote a lot of his particular impressions, and then what to do to build up the immune system. So they employed moxibustion, and then they would build up the immune system, and they would go in through litters and litters of dead bodies and never get sick because they could build up their immune system.
Wow.
So the thing is that they gleaned what he was talking about, and then they brought that forward and said, okay, so now that we have this information, and then we also have Western medicine to look at what the actual pathogen is. Oh, it's a coronavirus. But then how does that present in the ancient times? In the ancient times, this would be this particular syndrome. So they had it in different classifications: Taiyang syndrome, Shaoyang syndrome, and those kind of syndromes from his book. So they put those two concepts together. And then what we would talk about is calling new types of antivirals. And then now we can treat this. And then that's what they've been doing in China. You go on to any of the actual records of what's happened, they have one of the lowest deaths in the planet. And this is how they did. As soon as the antivirals stopped working from the Western side, they immediately transitioned to the Eastern side.
Okay. Damn. Okay. All right, so here's my question then. With medicine being with the way that y'all study medicine in that way, with the studying the Eastern, the Western, and the integrated.
Yeah.
What is the argument? What about the argument that since you are dividing your time, you don't specialize or become as educated as you need to in any particular strain of those three?
Because from Western minded, they're always very linear. They're allopathic. Yeah. Okay. So then now from Eastern minded, we're holistic.
Yep.
So then now, do I have to look at the body as a whole, or do I look at it at just one finger and become a specialist in this one finger and can't know how this one finger is connected to the rest of the 600 muscles?
Okay. Okay.
Right? Okay. So then you can specialize in the way that we specialize is, like, for example, time medicine. You still look at the whole body, but now you calculate on the cosmos and man. Okay? Then another doctor who would specialize in Sang-Han Lun or Zhang Zongjing's life was like the chief of the infectious disease department, who was our main teacher there. And so he was an expert in Sang-Han Lun, and he was an expert in infectious disease. Why? Because he lived in pandemics. Okay. So now our main teacher was Chief Lee, and Chief Lee was an infectious disease specialist. And so anything going on with infectious disease. So like at the time I was allergic to seafood. So then now I ate some local seafood in the area just to be nice at one of the dinners that they gave, but my windpipe began to close up. Mm-hmm. So I whispered to the translator, hey, I'm having a reaction. Normally they would give Benadryl or something like that, Western medicine. Okay. Oh, Lee said, we know of the local bacteria that is in our coastal region where I was. And he says, oh, you're having a reaction from bacteria. He gave me antibiotics. 15 minutes, swelling went down, everything was better. So I tell people here at Western medicine, I said, in Eastern medicine, they will use antibiotics to treat certain types of seafood allergy or different types of allergies. They go, antibiotics? Yeah, but if you know what the infection is, then you immediately know how to treat it.
Yeah. I have an uncle who is from Pakistan. Yeah. And he says he is allergic to seafood, like particularly like crawfish and stuff like that. Sure. But what he does now, he says that if he has his wits about him, all he has to do is tell himself I just keep repeating to himself that it's not seafood, he's eating chicken. And then his body listens to him. Sure. And that's how he's able to ingest and eat seafood and stuff like that at family functions.
Exactly. Now, there's a particular Indian lady who developed a technique called NAT, and it's an allergy elimination technique. Okay. And that's what she does is she uses different vials and does muscle testing to see how you're allergic, and then goes through your channels and then now resets your body so your body can now develop an ability to overcome the allergy. Same way. Wow. Because remember, everything that we come in contact with, the body is just reacting to. Your body is just reacting to a given situation, whether it be food, whether it be cold, hot, humidity. It's reacting to that environment, and your body's overreaction is what's creating the issue. Okay. You've had disagreements with your wife, and then you heard it one way, she heard it the other way. Each of you overreacted, and then wait a second. Then when you actually listen, you're like, oh, is that what you said? Oh, my bad.
That's what
you overreacted to the situation.
Yeah. I gotten a lot better at that nowadays since I do all that gratitude journaling and everything. Right. Love languages and stuff like that. We have much less arguments because of stuff like that. We understand each other just a little bit more. Man, I could talk to you so much. Okay. Before I let you go,
Right.
man, I have this I have a huge question that brought it
Yeah.
up because you were talking about circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
I was on Clubhouse one day and I heard this queen and she talked about how she uses she says time, all people think of as time as in AM and PM and stuff like that. She
Yeah.
says that you can be a person who is aligned with your seasons, or you can be aligned with different parts of the year. She says different types,
Sure.
and she had different words for saying it. And I have
Sure.
no idea who she was because she ended up exiting the room. And I'm just left with this story. And I keep trying to tell my wife. My wife was like, "Well, give me one example." And I don't know. I think maybe one of the words is Chronos time or
Yeah. So Kronos is one of the Nordic gods. Okay, and that's where we get chronometer and those kind of things. Okay, so when we're taking a look at like a lot of the things that we glean in the West comes from Greco-Roman and Nordic culture. Like even today, okay, Wednesday is actually Woden's day. That's the Nordic culture, or Odin, the god Odin. Okay, so we label things in Nordic culture. So the thing is that once you understand where it comes from and then understand the culture behind it, then you understand, like yesterday, why do they have elections on Tuesday? Well, that is Twisday. That's the god of war in Nordic culture. So we're doing battles, right?
Okay.
So that's why they hold elections on Tuesday. Okay, then tomorrow, Thor's day, the god of lightning.
Yep.
Yeah. So you understand that. So then now you begin to understand, okay, so you have different cycles. So for example, when I do my Clubhouse presentation, like this weekend, I do Jamming with Jiao Shi. And so we talk about the 24 solar cycles. And as we're moving through the 6 cycles of summer, then what cycle are we on? And then now how to appropriately balance your body with certain fruits. Once you know your body type, your constitution, now you can balance yourself with one fruit or the other and harmonize with the environment. Then you can either take the 24 solar cycles and harmonize yourself with the seasons, or you can harmonize with your channels, which is another cycle, which a lot of people here in the West, they know about the 12 channel cycle. But in the hospitals, we don't use the 12 channel cycle. We use the organ cycle because each organ secretes its hormone at a different time. Completely different cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can sure see that.
Yeah. So then now you have to know, like, and then in ancient Mayan culture, they had a giant wheel, then they had a smaller wheel, then they had a smaller wheel. So the wheel within the wheel within the wheel. So like the seasons, then the hours, then the meridian, like the meridian time, then the organ time. Then you can now harmonize those things and do what? Now work with your particular constitution. So knowing the different types of, chrono type of medicine or time medicine, then I like time medicine just because of the teachers that I came across. Then I started to say, okay, so then what if somebody came into your office at any time? What do we do when they come in at any time that's not a part of that appropriate time? Then it all goes back to the ancients. The ancients said, use the Constitution. Once you understand the Constitution, then everything flows through that Constitution. And once you understand that, then it doesn't matter. Because why? It'll always be on time for that particular individual.
Okay.
So that's why at OHO seminars, we do your constitutional assessment. Then I give you the do's and don'ts for that constitution. And then now you can support whatever therapy that is best for you. For example, Eastern medicine can do things. Western medicine can do things. So we were in the acupuncture department, and the teacher, Dr. Wong, he brought us over, head of the department. And then he points to this lady, and through the translator, he says, okay, what does she have? And then we started to palpate her throat and different things. So she had thyroid issue. So then we said, okay. So he says, okay, what's the treatment? So we start doing we're in the acupuncture department. Okay, we're going to do certain acupoints, start regulating her thyroid, return it back to normal. He smiled. Says, everybody give up. And it says, okay. So then he took out his prescription pad and did 0.5 Synthroid. And we're like, wait a second, that's not fair. This is acupuncture. Why? He says, hey, we have to stabilize the thyroid. So we stabilize it with Synthroid. Then we use those points that you said to have her body manufacture her hormone. Okay. He says, you don't use East medicine, West medicine. Forget that. You use best medicine.
Attention. Mindset Over Bullshit is now available every day on Facebook this week at 11 a.m. Central. You can watch it by rocking with my Facebook profile, Kendrick Avant, or rocking with my Facebook business page, Mindset Over Bullshit, 11 a.m. every day this week. I like that.
So that was his way of training us that get rid of the labels. Treat the person in front of you as a person and give the best thing for them to get them to where they're going.
I like that. I like that a whole lot. Okay, Jiao, I'm telling you, man, I have enjoyed this. I want to talk.
So, I tell people we can do this over and over and over again because I want to get the message out to people that, hey, like even in my practice, and people say, oh, well, the Western doctor won't do this. And I said, well, you're paying all of these in deductibles and insurance and all those things. Call your insurance company and see if they will pay for the procedure in China. You know how many people got rotator cuffs repaired in England because the care was easier to get there and it was less?
You kidding me? So I can seriously, because I get insurance for the first time since 2017. I get insurance on August 1st.
Right.
I can it's possible that I can
go and do the research, and they call it medical tourism. Mm-hmm. I would always tell people medical tourism. If one doctor told you no, that means 10 other doctors will tell you yes. Just because, a door is designed to be open and shut. Because one person closes the door, just open it back up. That's how the door works.
I never thought about that.
Right?
Never thought about that.
Right. So they said, oh, we can't do anything here. Oh, well, you're going to just have to live with it. Why do I have to live with your inability to treat me? You just said you can't do it. You said you can't do it. So now I'm going to go find somebody. There are 8 billion people on this planet. You mean no one knows how to do this? No one? Because your skill level is low level, I'm going to now accept the fact that, oh, well, none of the doctors can treat me here. Take your ass over to somewhere else, get a flight and go and get your health and come back and live your life. That entire last piece is why my wife and I had this we had this plan to get to Ecuador for long stretches because we finally made it there last year. And I mean, just being in the temperature where it's always 70 to 90 and the breeze and on the ocean and Manta. Sure.
It wasn't like I began to walk, but man, we were there for 17 days.
Okay.
By day number 5 or 6, I didn't have any more chronic pain. All the nerve pain was gone. I just couldn't walk every day. I woke up smiling and happy. I couldn't feel any pain. Like, I'm just ready. I'm trying to walk, and the kids, Daddy, stop trying to walk. Like, no. Let me try to get at least 1 or 2. I mean,
right. And now I'll say honestly, at this level, just take your time. There is time to walk again. Okay, and that's fine. But you have to do it in stages so that now you have endurance. Yeah. Your issue is endurance. It's not energy. Okay?
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, this is more of an endurance issue for what we term it as in Chinese medicine. Okay? So it's just a matter of getting your endurance back and then restoring your body's ability to now take one step at a time and then rebuild your reserves. You depleted your reserves. That's it. So now your body says, okay, he won't slow down. Shut him down. So slow him down.
I like that. I'm a huge fan of that. If there was, I told you all my thing about the what and the why.
Yeah.
What is something you are super grateful for today, this week, and why?
For me, because we just finished a project on the other side, because I do OHO seminars, but also I do I have an herbaceutical line, and this is called Sijin Bao. Sijin Bao is the herbaceutical line that is translated as 4 golden treasures. So we just finished about a year and a half project, and we just released our pain formula to the world. Okay.
Okay.
So it eliminates all pain.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So for me, I'm grateful because now I can offer this piece of Chinese medicine to the world in such a way that they can now appreciate it on this side of the planet. Because for me, it's like, okay, 80% of the world uses natural medicine. So this is not for 80% of the world, okay? This is for this group of people that have just whatever the mental block is, cultural blocks, whatever it is. And we put this particular medicine in a form and a way that they can take it and appreciate it. Because, when I came back from China, I had all of these things, all these hopes that I was going to do, okay? And I make the herbal medicine for people, and traditionally, it takes you 2 hours to make the herbal medicine. And then, people, especially in Florida, I can't cook this. Where did you get this? Your backyard? My wife won't let me. This just smells up the house. I can't do any of this. It's like, okay, so then I used to cook it for people. Okay. And then little by little got to where we are now, 15 years later, where you can just take it in an ounce of water. And now people are just like readily consuming because the American public, the Western mind, they just want it quick, fast, and done. Yep. So for me, I got it to that point where I can now help people in this country eliminate pain. So for me, as a physician, I sit back and just smile like, okay, the things that Chief Lee asked me to do, the things that Director Tien asked me to do, things that Dr. Wong asked me to do, and I'm coming back, then I'm doing them, and they will be pleased with me.
Snap 3 times for that.
Okay, that's important for me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What are some things that I can do to help support you besides me doing this podcast with you, besides becoming a regular, besides just spreading your message? What are some things that I can do to support?
The thing is that for you, the biggest thing for me as a physician, when I see anybody suffering, are you willing to take the steps to restore your own health? If you are, then you and I can work with each other offline, and then your testimony will be what is the best thing for the both of us. Because I look at it for a simple thing of, okay, I come to an area and I see what the issue is because I have a particular training. Now, who's willing to put in the work so that they can benefit from the training that I have? Because my training is no good if I keep it to myself.
Yep. And it's
right? It's just a book on a shelf in the library.
Who don't do it either. I know that's a big one. It's no good if you give it to people who aren't willing to do the work either.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of it.
Yeah. So the thing is that, a book on a shelf in the library is great, but if nobody's reading it, okay, what's the use?
True with that one. You sure true with that one.
Yes. So for me, it's like, that's why I have the OHO seminars. OHO seminars is more about passion and teaching people, for those who are willing to put in the work for themselves. Sujin Bao is just a herbaceutical line that for those people who want to support their function and they're not there yet. It's like, okay, Jiao Shi, I'm not there to put in the work. Okay, get this stuff and I've done the work for you.
Got it.
Okay, then when you're ready, let's get to work.
Okay. I dig it. Okay. Look, man, you have a fan in me. A lot of what you're saying aligns with everything I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to go. Sure. So yeah, I'm going to be in seminars and everything. You have a fan in me.
Yeah. So like I said, it's just a simple thing of, and then like even one of my other clients that I did a podcast with, she's starting to get it, and it's like, okay, once you put in the work, then that's when it starts to work for you. Again, this is 6,000 years. There's a 1.6 billion people alive now in China. You know how many people have used Chinese medicine over the last 6,000 years? And it's
Man,
still
a whole
here.
lot.
It's still
A whole
here.
lot.
We can't even count that high. Okay, it's still here for a reason. So use this resource. If you don't have an answer on this side of the planet, go somewhere else. Find your answer wherever you need to go. For me, my answer was in the East. Some people, their answer will be in the North. Some people, their answer will be in the South. Wherever you have to go, go. Somebody tells you no, go find your yes.
I like that. I like that. 1,000, what? Jiao Shi, 1,000 thank yous. A million thanks for talking to us about the OHO seminars and all the information that you have given us. I'm going to be there. I'm going to spread this message. And to everyone else, I always end this by saying, be pretty, stay grateful. I salute you all, and we are out.
We are out. Awesome.
Thinking better, being better starts with you getting a gratitude journal and following me every day on this journey. It all starts with you.